How's it going, YouTube? I want to go ahead and give my brief description of how I feel Donald Trump's 6 months of office have been. This is my personal opinion. You guys are welcome to disagree. I know there's a lot of people who aren't the biggest fan of this guy. Now, before I start kissing some Republican ass, let me just say this. When I first heard about Mr. Trump, Mr. President-elect, I thought he was a troll. I honestly just thought he was doing it for to get attention, to perhaps help his own business, or just because maybe he likes stirring up trouble. But the reason why I say this is because he was so outspoken. Never have I seen any politician as outspoken as Donald J. Trump. It's to the point where you really you think that he is just trying to cause trouble because you never see that, never. And but as I studied him more and more, I realized it's just because he's a really rare kind of guy. He's the rare kind of guy in politics who has the balls to speak his mind, and I can't help but love him for that. I don't think he's perfect. There are some things he could have said that perhaps he could have worded differently. Quoting, there was this rapper who was talking about him. Because yes, black people do love Donald Trump. There are blacks who do love him, whether you know it or not, whether you want to accept it or not. But I think it was Neo who said this, that Donald Trump, he is I don't remember the exact quote, but he's great at what he does. He just needs to think more on how he phrases things. So basically, he's good at doing, but perhaps not so good at talking. Now, I really love this guy. I mean, it surprises me that I even did think he was a troll, but there's just something that I really can't help but love about Donald Trump. Um, I grew up with punk rock music. I was one of the spiky-haired kids, anarchy, rebellion, all that crap. And I hated politics. I hated cops. I hated anyone in a business suit. I would automatically think they were evil people. And I'll admit, this was an immature mindset. But the simple truth is there is a lot of corruption in the world, especially with business and politics and government. So it took me a while to really sort of, embrace leadership. But see, that's the thing. Donald Trump, he's not a dictator. He's a leader. There's a difference between a dictator and a leader. One of my favorite leaders right here, I'd like to introduce you to, Mr. Leonardo. That's right, Leonardo the Ninja Turtle. He's the leader of the Four Turtles. He has integrity, honor, respect, bravery, all the things that make a great leader. I believe Donald Trump has these things too. But again, let me just say this, guys. I do not think he's perfect. And I think that he knows too he's not perfect. So, for some of you who have, your many criticisms of him, just know this, okay? You're right to say he's not perfect. You're right to say he's perhaps lacking in some things. But you still have to respect the fact that he's, going out there and trying his very best. Because in his 6 months in office, he really has done amazing things, guys. He's reduced our debt. Okay, you guys, I know this number's hard to believe, but I just found out he reduced our debt. I believe it was 123 billion with a B, dollars. He's reduced our debt that much. Um, that's something to brag about. That really is. In only 6 months, he's reduced our debt that much in America. That is amazing. I mean, that's astounding. Who would have thought he would have done that? When President Donald Trump first got elected, I'll admit I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen. And I remember even my friend Alex Jones, he was sort of on his toes because he wasn't sure what to think either. Alex Jones and I, we've both been studying, the Illuminati and things like that for a long time. He has a little bit longer. Believe it or not, he's not that much older than me. He just looks much older for his age, which is quite sad because it seems stress has really paid a toll on him. 10 years ago, he looked like a completely different person. But anyways, so because of that, because we understand evil, we understand the truth, our minds are open, it can make it hard to trust people, especially people with as much power as the president. Um, I know some people may still think that he is evil. Perhaps he's working with the Russians. But guys, you just have to understand this, okay? Number one, if he really were working with the Russians, okay, I think he would have done something by now, okay? And number two, if he really were working with the Russians, I don't think he would have done all these amazing things that he's done for America right now. I don't, and look, I'll admit, I don't quite know for sure if I can fully trust him in these 6 months. I'll admit, I still am somewhat skeptical of Donald Trump. But he has still done great, amazing things that I have to respect. Um, as I said before, I grew up with punk rock music. I was a spiky-haired kid. I was one of those spiky-haired, pretentious cunts, I'll admit it. And so for over 15 years, I hated all presidents. I hated all congressmen, congresswomen. I never gave them a chance. I was a very judgmental person. And unfortunately, I think some of that is still in my blood. I don't think it's completely gone away. I'm only 31 years old. I know that it's really not that old. I'm still fairly young, I guess you could say. I like to think so anyways. And I think because of that, my blood still has some of that teenage angst rebellion in it. I had an old math tutor in community college that I was going to. He told me once that you're not really a man until you're 40. That's roughly true for most men. It takes us a long time to grow up. It took me a long time to grow up, but I think I'm slowly getting there. I think I'm slowly getting there. So we'll see what happens, though. We will see what happens with Mr. Trump. I hope that he does get elected president, perhaps in 2024? No, 2020, isn't it? That his second term would be. I hope that he does. If things keep going this way, I hope he does stay 8 years. But yeah, it's unfortunate, all the hate that he gets on Twitter, because I just started using Twitter. By the way, I'm Jared A777 if you want to add me. I'll put it in the links in the description. But Donald Trump, he's so hilarious with his tweets. I mean, he's just, like I said, the guy is so outspoken. It's truly incredible. It's really amazing just how outspoken Donald Trump is, and people can't seem to handle that. Unfortunately, we live in a world of many snowflakes, as they call it, the kinds of people who can't take criticism, who can't handle, blunt truth. I'm all too familiar with these kinds of people because, I deal with fanboys. My name, Xbox Jared. You should know that I do dabble, with the video game talk and reviews and things like that. But yeah, I've come across many snowflakes as well, and it's really unfortunate. There are so many sensitive people who can't take criticism or different opinions. I can think of many people who have obsessively trolled me simply because they don't like what I have to say, and that is a true shame. Whenever I see Donald Trump tweet something, I see the same cucks, okay, the same beta male faces talking this, stupid hate to him, saying all these stupid things, being incredibly rude. The same faces, because I've watched a lot of his comments. I've read a lot of his comments, and it's funny how it's the same faces, the same people who hate. Unfortunately, his Twitter is riddled with trolls. I feel so sorry for this man, because I know in my heart he is trying his best that he can to help our country. And he's getting so much criticism, so much hate. And that should tell you something, guys. Unfortunately, United States is not very united. We are the divided states of America. With the race wars going on, the division, because a lot of this is racism. And I'll admit, there was racism with Obama too. I'll be fair here. But there are a lot of black people who are obviously prejudiced against this man because of his skin color. It's very apparent to me. This Black Lives Matter movement, this Black Panthers movement, because that's what it is. It's a cult. They are just doing everything they can to try to shut this man down. And it's so sad to see this happen. Also, all these liberals, my God, liberals, poor liberals, obviously mentally they're not well. And I do sympathize with them for that because I've struggled myself with mental conditions and, depression and suicidal thoughts. But it's obvious to say that liberals really should not even vote because they're mentally unstable. They don't have proper judgment in their brains. Many of them, I think, were perhaps raped, abused, physically tormented by bullies. You can tell they're not right in the head. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean, but it's obvious, quoting Mark Dice, that liberalism is a mental disorder. And people like this, they need professional help, and I hope they do get help. Whether it's with a therapist or a good friend or a parent or anyone who can reach out to them. These liberals are in serious need of help. And I realized that once I saw all those crying snowflakes when Donald Trump was elected, which I will admit was pretty hilarious, but also sad because from what I understand, many of them went into like these childlike states to where they just wanted to color in coloring books. And in colleges, they had safe spaces. It's just, guys, I'm telling you, liberals are mentally not well. It is a condition, and really, it does deserve some level of sympathy. So remember that, guys. I know some of you out there who are bashing liberals, incessantly, calling them all kinds of names in the book, and I will admit, many of them are very annoying. And some of them do deserve to be called certain names, but for the most part, guys, you need to be careful because what you're doing is you're name calling people with a mental condition. You're insulting someone who's basically, I mean, let's just be real. It's like insulting a retarded person, and that's not cool. Okay, it's not cool to bully mentally retarded people, and I'm not saying that to be mean, but really that's pretty much what it is. Liberals, their brain does not function the same way as a normal person's, should. Their brain functions completely different. And that happens mostly due to traumas, long-term depression, anxiety, that will eventually make the brain malfunction. It will really affect you mentally. And so I just hope that liberals can get better. I hope that blacks can respect our president more and learn to love him more. But it's funny because, like I said, the white people, back in the Obama terms, it took us a long time, but we eventually did respect Obama. Even the most racist of all people, eventually did. Most of them. There were, of course, always haters, but we gave him a chance. So black people, those of you who are black watching this, just give him a chance, guys. He's doing everything he can for you. And I know you may not think so, but the fact that he wants to bring in special forces to the most crime-ridden ghettos, that should tell you something right there. He obviously does care, at least somewhat. I mean, really more than somewhat, but the guy does care, guys. So give him a chance. Donald Trump, like I said, I don't fully trust him 100%, but I trust him enough to where I hope he keeps it up. And I hope he even gets a second term, I think he deserves a chance because in this first 6 months, he really has done a heck of a lot for us. I didn't even begin to mention everything, but I mean, 123 billion out of debt, that's enough right there to understand that he's doing something truly wonderful and he must be blessed by God. You know, he must have God's blessing because just, I mean, what he's doing, guys, you have to understand. It's historical. Like this man will go down in the history books. This is really something to behold. And I'll admit, I've actually not even gamed hardly any this year because I find this also fascinating. I think there's a reason why I bought a shitty PC. It's just so I can learn more, I guess, about the world and, you know, just also go out and do other things too. Because I'll admit, I was gaming way too much in the past 10 years. For those of you who game like 8 hours a day, guys, just try to do something productive with your life because looking back on my life, I wasted a lot of times playing video games, a lot of time, a lot of just countless hours just in front of my fucking television. And I do admit, I don't regret all of it because I played some pretty awesome games that I know, you know, I'll remember for the rest of my life. But I've also just played a lot of mindless shooters and stupid crap like that, and stuff like that just gets forgotten. So guys, you know, enjoy your life. Learn about the world, learn everything the life has to offer. There's really a lot out there. So anyways, thanks for watching. This is probably one of the longest videos I've ever made. Anyways, guys, peace.